Yo, what's up guys? Antwon Vinnie, and I am here today in the Wholehearted studio to make a commentary of the 3 music videos that you guys picked out for me. And the 3 that you chose were Deep End, Numb, and Will They Care. My favorite of the 3 is Numb, and I'm most excited to talk about that one because there is a lot that went into making that video, and there are a lot of juicy moments and a lot of secret little Easter eggs that many of you might have missed. And I'll be showing you some more about how I made that video and more of the things that went into it. So today we're going to start with Deep End. All right, so let me give you a little bit of backstory on Deep End. So in the year 2018 is when this was filmed. I was living in West Virginia at the time, and this was right before I moved back to Sacramento. So this was the last video I made out in the East, and when I lived out in West Virginia, me and my friends and my brother, we used to go swimming a lot in the Shenandoah River, the quarries nearby my house, and just a lot of other places. And for as long as I can remember, I had an irrational fear of deep water. And not just like swimming pool deep, I'm talking like ocean deep, like hundreds, thousands of feet deep. You couldn't pay me to jump in an ocean, in the middle of the ocean. And these quarries that we used to swim at and lakes we used to swim at were hundreds of feet deep, and the water in some of them was super dark. And the deeper and the darker, the more scared I was. So I thought for this music video, because of all the emotional things I was talking about and all the deep subject matter, I thought, how cool would it be if while I'm talking about things that are deep, like within my soul, what if I also face my fear of deep water and the unknown? So the emotion, the deep emotion, and the unknown emotions also kind of play hand in hand with my fear of deep water. And I thought it'd be cool to just face that fear and just face the unknown head on, literally head on, because I was looking down at the bottom of this quarry when I was filming this, and it was pretty terrifying. All right, so enough the backstory. Let's get into the video. Okay, so right here, the first shot of the video, we see underwater, and the color is just a really blue, green, teal color. And the water was actually that beautiful. Like no color correction, just minor color correction was added to this. But these bubbles that we see here actually were shot in another quarry. We were shooting at another quarry first, but we didn't end up getting good shots, so we had to reshoot later. And right here, I jumped off of a 25-foot cliff, and I landed right in front of my friend who was in the water, and I almost landed on him. But luckily, this shot looked really cool, and the bubbles that were made just looked cool, and I had to keep that in the shot. And if you look really closely, you can see I'm actually wearing different clothes than in the whole video. I'm wearing like a dark blue long sleeve flannel. So that's another thing that many people won't notice, but I thought it'd be fun to point out. Okay, so right here, the title sequence. This was really, really special because I guess you can call it a happy accident. When I was sitting there floating on top of the water, I was looking down and everything was blurry, but I saw my GoPro at the bottom, which was about 10 feet below me, and I saw a little smudgy fish swim right in front of the GoPro. And I knew that that shot was gonna look wicked cool. And when I ended up looking at it in the editing software, it was just way better than I thought it was gonna be. And I ended up masking around the fish to make it look like it swam in front of the title. And that process actually took about 5 hours to do with my slow computer at the time, but it turned out great.
The floodgates is open. I cannot be coping with the lack of dope in my brain.
All right, so now we see me standing in the rain, and a super funny story about this rain. In West Virginia, it's kind of subtropical, and in the spring and early summer, it rains a lot. And it's ironic because since it rains a lot, you would think it'd be easy for me to get this shot of me standing out in the rain, but it took maybe a month to finally be able to film it because when a storm would finally come, I wouldn't be expecting it. I didn't have my costume ready. I didn't have my camera gear set up. Half the time my batteries were dead. And when I finally did get everything set up, it was too late. The rain was either slowed down or the sun came back out. But one day it started to drizzle a little bit, and I said, all right, I'm gonna get ready now so that when it starts raining hard, I'll be ready. And sure enough, I had everything set up, my clothes on, and it started pouring.
So I write depressing songs to cope with the never-ending pain of knowing that nothing can wash out the rain. Knowing that nothing can wash out the rain. All my efforts feeling.
Okay, so right here when I'm laying on the grass, actually it wasn't raining as hard. As I mentioned earlier, the rain came and went really fast. So when I was laying in the grass, it was after the shot where I was standing in the rain. So the rain was kind of just lightly drizzling. And I had to set up a hose that had like a shower attachment on it, aimed it up, and then the water would come back down right on top of me. And I set up the most ghetto GoPro tripod rig so that I can lay under the GoPro. If I had a picture of it, you guys would laugh at me because half the time I set stuff up like this, it's like with duct tape and string, and it's just gnarly. That's how I work. But the shot ended up looking good. From the profile view, you can definitely see the rain better. And from on top, if you look close, you can actually see drips from the GoPro landing on my face.
Nothing can wash out the rain. All my efforts feel in vain, trying to maintain. They tell me I shouldn't complain, though I will never put drugs in my veins. I often will think about facing a train and splatter my demons on the window pane. Feels like the only way they will be slain. Just another.
Okay, so right here where you see me rapping in slow-mo, there was actually a lot that went into that shot. So what I had to do was I had to take the original master file of the audio, and what I did was I sped it up. So in the song, I'm actually rapping, what are the lyrics? I can't even think of my own lyrics. Hard to stay bright when my head's at my ass. Hard to find love that is destined to last. So the actual speed that I was rapping in real life was hard to find love that is destined to last. Hard to find love that is, like, it was really fast. And half the time I messed up, but the times I did do it right, what I would do was take the footage, match it up with the sped up audio, and then slow everything down so that it was playing in real time, but everything looked like it was moving in slow motion. So it's a really weird ghostly look, and it's the first time I actually implemented it in one of my videos, and I've actually used it in many music videos since, such as Vinnie. Even in Numb, I think I used it once. I'm probably wrong about that, don't quote me for that. But it's a cool effect and not too hard to do, to be honest. Okay, let's continue.
How I look and how I feel, there is such a contrast. Put the shit on blast, but nobody rejoiced. Life versus death, was there even a choice? Don't ask me to repeat myself, I hate the sound of my voice. It's like a deja vu with every noise.
Okay, so throughout the music video, you can see me floating. And when I was floating, I started about pretty much 5-10 feet from the shore. But as the music video went on, I would keep drifting more farther out because the music video is 3 minutes long. So I would, take little breaths and come back down and rap more. And I remember sometimes I'd open my eyes and I would look down and it was just black. And you remember I told you about that irrational fear. I was pretty much pissing my pants. Luckily I was underwater though. But that's part of the facing the fear for me. I wanted to just put myself in the situation where I was so uncomfortable, just to really feel what I was feeling and make it more real, make it more authentic.
Sold the world for a stale turd, a simple flow for the simple-minded. A deeper meaning, I hope that somebody find it. You see a pretty face, but you don't see the person behind it. It seems like everyone is so focused on.
All right, so the thing that not scares me but haunts me most about this music video are the symbols and the themes, and how, looking back at them now, how my subconscious almost knew the future, because this was filmed 4 months before I was diagnosed with MS. And as you'll see in the Numb music video, there are shots where there's water running down my arm, pretty much symbolizing how it felt during my flare-up. And in this video, it's crazy that I thought, oh, let me shoot underneath the rain, because 4 months later, I would feel like I was literally standing underneath the rain. So that kind of creeps me out a little bit. It's almost like I knew, and it's almost like I knew how deep this would get, if that makes sense. How deep the depression would get, how deep the loneliness would get, how deep everything would get. Okay, so this shot's cool. When my grandma watched this music video, she said, "Yay, he's not dead." I kind of wanted to use this shot as like showing that, okay, I'm out of this deep feeling now, almost kind of like a resurrection, because in the music video, it looks like I'm dead, kind of. That's kind of what I wanted it to look like. I wanted it to look like I was dead, but it's more like I'm unconscious, just floating in emotion, if that makes sense.
The floodgates is open. How can I be coping with the lack of dope in my brain? Feeling insane, so I write depressing songs to cope with the never-ending pain of knowing that nothing can wash out the...
All right, so that just about covers Deep End. So let's get into the next music video. Buckle up, this one's gonna be a doozy. Numb. Okay, so right here, this animation was actually made by me, and the original concept of the music video was going to be an animation. So what I did was I actually got real shots with my camera that I'm gonna put in here because I still have some of them. And what I did was I picked out screenshots and I traced over them with a light shining through glass. And I was gonna make an animation of the whole music video, which at the time, Numb was only 2 minutes long. But that was still a lot of animating. Each frame took about a day to draw, and there were 3 frames per little sequence of animations. So the shot of me sitting in this chair was 3 images that I just would loop back and forth, and it took me 3 days to draw each one. I know it doesn't seem like that artistic, but it took for freaking ever. So I thought, no, screw this animation. I'm not doing it. I had so many shots that I was going to throw in there, but it took me 12 days to make these 3 little animations that you see here. So I cut that out. Probably for the better, because the actual song ended up changing concepts and changing meanings once I was diagnosed. So it worked out better. All right, and here we see what we will find out is my medicine, my infusion that I take. And right here, you see my hand dripping with water, and the right side of my body is wet. So what that shot is, there's 2 of those in the music video. There's that one and then this one. And what that represents is basically what I was feeling during my first flare-up. And I don't really say that in the video. It's more just for symbolism and artistic value. But for me, what it means is that's literally what I was feeling when I was flared up. It felt like water was running down the right half of my body, like literally cut right down the middle like a slice of bread. That side was wet and dripping water. And these 2 shots for me are probably 2 of the most artistic shots. They're 2 of the most artistic things I've ever filmed, because I took something that was internal, something that was a pure feeling, like literally something I was feeling in my nervous system, something that was unfathomable to most people, something that felt otherworldly to even myself. And I translated it into visual medium, which I love doing. And the fact that I was able to do that with this water is super special to me. And I'm so glad I was able to include that. All right. So another fun fact about the water shot is I was actually going to make that shot my album cover for Numb. And because I thought it looked pretty cool and it represented everything I was feeling. But upon showing it to my friends and family, the first thing they asked is, "Did you pee yourself?" And I was kind of mad at them. I'm like, "No, you asses, I didn't pee myself." But now, looking back on it in hindsight, I'm really glad I didn't make that my album cover, because the last thing I want people to think of when they see and hear my music is me peeing myself. So it worked out for the better. Moral of the story, feedback is important. All right, so continuing on from the water shot, we see me here sitting at a table with a beautiful sandwich that I prepared in front of me. And this shot, as you'll see, it's kind of Tarantino-esque, but it is the shot that pieces together the whole music video. At first, you don't really know what you're looking at. You just see me throwing my beanie with a sandwich in front of me. But this is the shot that pieces together the puzzle that is this music video. And as you can see right here, the length of my hair and beard, facial hair, is shorter. So throughout the music video, you see my hair getting longer and my facial hair getting longer. This symbolizes the passing of time. But we'll get back more into that later. So let's keep going. Okay, so this shot was cool. So this shot is of my clock, and those aren't actually the real hands. What I did was I added those in post. I basically made my own animations of the clock hand spinning, and even the shadows I animated myself, which honestly, the hands and the shadows were really hard to make. But what I did was I made an anchor point on the circle of each hand and made an anchor point on the shadow of each hand, rotated it around, added a motion blur. I know this is all a bunch of jargon that a lot of you guys probably don't know what I'm saying. Foreign language. Okay. And I animated the hands rotating to make it look like time was passing very fast. And I thought it looked really cool. And I added this creepy color correction to make it look dark and evil. So this is another shot that no one would guess took a super long time to plan out in my brain and actually execute to make it happen.
Blue denim, read my addendum. I'm going to conquer all of my dreams and then some. But the siren is getting louder and louder. My dreams are slipping.
Okay, so here we see a hospital bill in my hands from good old Sutter. I'm kidding. Anyway, so we see the payment due is $52,000. And the original payment due, this is a real bill, by the way. I altered it a little bit, but the real bill, the original bill, before it was doctored, was $2,917.55. And I thought, yeah, that's a lot of money, but I wanted to add a little bit more shock value. So what I did was I moved the 5 using my beautiful Photoshop skills, made it $52,917, something like that. And if you look down here at the bottom, you can actually see I forgot to change the 2,900, so that's still in there, but it's only in there for a frame or two, so you don't really see it. I also changed the date, the bill date, and that's a cool little Easter egg I put in. I made it December 13th, 2019, which was the day that my album was released, and this music video was also released. That's another one because it's kind of blurry. Not many people are going to see or notice. That's an Easter egg that was more for me, just something I figured wouldn't get caught by most, but I had to put that in there just for Easter egg value.
They see determination, but all I feel is aberration in the size of the firing squad. That was my place.
Okay, so these are the MRI shots. So in this video, I'm looking at my actual real MRIs, and they're the MRIs I got when I was discharged from the hospital after my first flare-up. And as you can see in the shots, I look kind of scared, yet kind of like intrigued at the same time. When I was really looking at these MRIs, I was kind of freaked out because I was looking at like the inside of my brain, and it kind of was freaking me out, but I was also intrigued, like morbidly curious a little bit. So I wanted to translate that into the video too, like the same emotion that I was feeling when I actually looked at these for the first time. So at this point in the video, you don't really know the story, but as the video goes on, you can see, oh, hospital bill, oh, MRIs, oh, no money, oh man, in the hospital, and you kind of understand what's going on. This shot is actually one of my favorite transition shots in the video because it was unintentional, which a lot of the things in my music videos are unintentional at first, and then I keep them. But I was lining up the clips, and the shot, frontal shot in the MRI of my head, and then the shot of my face from the front angle, they lined up perfectly on accident. And I said, oh, that would be a great match cut. I'm gonna keep that.
Fucking understatement. All I feel is numb. Staring at my ceiling.
All right, so this is the main shot of the music video. This is the meat and potatoes of the music video. The door sequence is the sequence that connects all of the 3 acts in the music video. As I mentioned earlier, when I was sitting at the table with that beautiful sandwich in front of me, and you see me sitting not in the table, you don't sit in a table. As I said, this is the shot that pieces everything together. So you see this shot 3 times total. Do you see it 3? No, you see it twice. I don't even know my own music video. So you see it twice in the video, and it connects the shots together. So let's talk about how I actually executed the shot, because this is probably the craziest thing I've ever done as far as getting a shot to work. So as you can see in the first frame, wow, first frame, and we already have something to talk about. This is going to be a long one. So you can see I have a yellow string tied to the metal door, and it was a string that was a leftover from the Vinnie music video, and I actually only had 3-foot sections, so I tied maybe like 20 of them together, just long enough to span from the door through my front yard and into my kitchen window. What I did was I made these loops so that the string didn't get obstructed and attached to anything, and with my right hand I would pull the string and it would open my front door, and then as the shot continues, you see the second door open inward. That was the same thing. I had yellow string taped to the back of the door, and I had another little pulley system, but this one wrapped around a 50-pound dumbbell. went all the way through my living room into my kitchen, and I would pull it with my left hand. And the final door, the double doors opened. That was the hardest one to figure out. I went through 3 phases. I went through kind of like just a string pulling like I did with the other 2. Then I went through like a V setup where the cameraman's foot would open it, which originally I was going to have a cameraman open all the doors with him kicking strings on the floor, which another one of those hindsight things I'm so glad I didn't do because it allowed the cameraman to focus more on getting a clean shot. So glad I scrapped that idea. And the third idea was me using another pulley system to use a string to pull this V formation, and it opens the doors outward. And it ended up working out great. So on the final shot, my cameraman, I actually had 2 cameramen for this shot. I had Drew Nature. Thank you, bro, for all your help with this. I appreciate you. And Tight Beat, who helped film it at night. He did a great job also. It took hours to film these. It was very difficult because we had to do, I think for each one we did like 30 takes because one thing would go wrong every time, but we finally ended up getting the right one. And he would give me one cue, like 1, I'd pull this door, the outer door with my right hand. He'd say 2, I'd pull the next door. And then when he was coming up on the double doors, he'd say 3, and I would drop the strings as quick as I could, and I would pull the door open with my foot that the string was attached to. I'm so glad I was able to solve this problem of how I was going to open these doors all by myself. Because as a lot of you guys know, a big thing is I make all my own music videos. I'm kind of a one-man army, so I don't have a big crew. But when I do have people that help me, I'm super grateful and I make the most out of it. So I had to come up with an idea to get these doors open, and I was able to do it. And the shot ended up looking perfect, just as I wanted it to. All right, so as you see, my hair is getting longer. My beard came in a little bit, my patchy beard, as I call it. This shows the passing of time pretty much. So you see I'm not babyface Anth anymore, and my hair is not short. So definitely a couple months have gone by. As you can see, I have a glazed look on my face. I kind of look, many times I've sat on this table and I've just been glazed. This is an autobiographical music video, so I wanted to really encapsulate how I was feeling during this whole ordeal of being numb, both internally and externally. So yeah, I had to get into character and I had to relive pretty much everything I was going through. And many times I would sit at this table just for hours, just like, crap, what am I gonna do? Everything sucks. I'm so glad I got through it, but I wanted to incorporate that into the video. Okay, let's keep going. All right, and I had to throw in the cliche mirror shots, but it's true. I actually many times looked at myself in the mirror and tried to fake a smile, as all of us do. Okay, so right here, the gas scenes. It's the same period of time with the long hair, and I roll up to a gas station, and this was actually fun to film. We spent a couple hours filming in the night of my car, and it was so fun. Andrew helped me out with these as well. And I pull up to a gas station, and all I have in my pocket is like nickels, dimes, and quarters, right? Which is another autobiographical thing. I was actually unemployed for a year after my diagnosis, and I had to go pretty much a year without money. I know it sounds gnarly, but I was broke as hell. Luckily, I had my mom helping me, paying rent and buying me food every once in a while. I'm so thankful for you, Mom. I love you. But, you know, I didn't want to be greedy and ask for more than I needed just to get by. So a lot of times when I got the rent paid and I had the food I needed, I still was kind of left with just pocket change. So when I was going to school during the time of year this was filmed, I had to get to school with just nickels and dimes, and it was gnarly. So yeah, that sucked. So I wanted to put that in the video too, because that was another thing that just, I'm getting these medical bills, I'm getting all this crap, and then I can't even fill up my car with gas. So I thought that was, honestly, I thought it was funny. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, wow, $1.45, that's hella depressing. But it actually happened. So looking back on it now, I can laugh about it, which is why life is so special. I will say it was definitely the shittiest, I don't say it lightly, it was the shittiest feeling of my life, having to fill up my car with quarters and nickels. So many months I spent doing that. And right here we see me looking in the mirror again, time passing, and me clutching my head. That's just showing like me having headaches, because during the process I was going through extreme amounts of pain in my head. So I kind of wanted to show that visually. And right here we see me with a lighter in my hand and me in like a dark room. And this shot is actually hilarious. It doesn't look hilarious. It looks like I'm really sad because I'm supposed to be sad. But filming it was utterly hilarious. If you were there, you'd probably laugh at me. So I wanted to be crying in the shot. And I actually have really watery eyes. It's hard to tell, but my eyes are really watery. And I actually did cry in some of the shots, but there was always something that was off. Either the camera was just a little out of focus, again, me being my own filmmaker, and also the lighting would be off, or something didn't look right, so I would have to redo it. So the shots that I ended up crying, thinking about the saddest things, like my mom being dead, or all the sad things in my life, or I had to just really try to channel every emotion I could to cry. It worked, but then that stopped working, so I had to resort to onions. And here's the thing about onions. They only make you cry when you don't want them to make you cry. I chopped up a whole onion, popped it in a plate, and just like stared at it, literally inches from my face. And I was crying, but the thing is, I was doing this, like, I couldn't open my eyes for more than like a second or two. It was painful as hell. So that didn't end up working either. Eventually the onions lost their luster. It doesn't look as good as I wanted to, but you know, I worked with what I had. I feel like I'm rotting like the body of... Okay, so right here you see me waking up, and all of a sudden my hair's shorter and my beard is gone. So this brings us back to before everything. It brings us back to when I was sitting there at the table with the sandwich, and it shows us this was before everything took place. And this is a dramatization of how I actually woke up during my first flare-up. Everything was double vision. I was really blurry. My eyes weren't working properly. I couldn't see straight, and everything was really bright, and I couldn't walk. I was tripping over my laundry that was on the floor. I was tripping over everything. So yeah, I wanted to show that in the music video too, because this is kind of, we saw the aftermath of everything that happened from getting sick, and this brings us back to the beginning. It's kind of confusing, I know. And I was feeling the sharp pain actually right here. It was gnarly. It lasted 2 weeks. I thought I had the flu, but I didn't. Cause I'm numb. All I feel is numb. Yeah, this shit's hella sad. You guys picked all the sad songs. Okay, now we see me here in the hospital, and we see the same shot from the beginning of the music video with the dripper. That's the medicine I take for my MS. And the funny thing about the shot is I'm actually getting an infusion here. Like, I'm actually at the chemotherapy center next to people also getting treatment. And I'm actually getting my medicine injected in me, which is like a 6-hour process. But I thought, oh, I need to put this in my video. I want to do this. And it was so damn hard to get because there were nurses walking around. It was an actual functional hospital. I'm a guerrilla filmmaker. I have to use what I can get. There were nurses walking around. There were actual patients walking around. I didn't want to get anyone else in the shot because, you know, I don't want to film people while they're getting chemo. That's kind of messed up. So I had to really like work hard to get this shot. So I basically put a camera on a chair like 10 feet away, and I had to do this for like 2 hours because people would keep walking by or making me laugh. There were these 2 nurses that were like, oh, look, he's filming himself. And they'd keep making me laugh, and I had to just be like statue and just stay in character. All right, so there's the mirror shot. There were 3 instances where I used the mirror in the video at the 3 different phases, so I thought that'd be cool to incorporate. All right, and now the final door sequence of the 2. We see it's nighttime now, and the same process, me pulling the strings. I did this twice. There's my beautiful little kitty, and there I am again sitting at the table as I was at the beginning of the music video, doing the same beanie throwing motion, the same beautiful sandwich. This pieces the music video together. As you see, the video starts with me sitting there, and then it continues from there. When the video ends, we now see the start of the music video. It's so confusing. It's even confusing for me to talk about, but it's very Tarantino-ish, you know. It starts at the end and ends at the beginning. Ooh. Whew, that was a mouthful, eh? Oh, you guys still with me? I promise you this next video will be a little easier to talk about. There's less that went into it, but there's still a lot of good things to talk about as well. Next one is going to be Will They Care? All right, so Will They Care was filmed right after the quarantine started, which we're still in quarantine at this moment, although we're kind of easing out of it soon, I think. But this music video is still relevant. The concept behind this music video was I didn't want to play myself. I wanted to play a different character, a different person altogether with different life experiences. Although there were a lot of things inspired from my life and my experiences that I wanted to put into the character, such as his name is Will, so he also has multiple sclerosis, although he has primary progressive, which is a lot worse than the one I have, which is relapsing remitting. So I thought telling the story from someone's perspective who is also high risk like me, it would be easier to write because I can actually channel my own emotions. And also I think it'd be more relatable too, because if someone was telling this story and they don't have anything to worry about, it's not as emotionally impactful. All right, so the music video starts out with this almost jarring shot of my eyes, extreme close-up. And I don't know if you can tell, but a clear influence here is spaghetti westerns like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and many more like it. Looking at the shot, I can just see Clint Eastwood's eyes. So I've watched that movie probably hundreds of times, so I wanted to get that close-up of the eyes because the eyes, for me, tell so much in this first intro shot. I'm trying to play a character here. I wouldn't say I'm a great actor. I'm a decent actor, but I'm trying to put myself in someone else's shoes, someone who's utterly devastated, as you'll see at the end of the video. So the whole music video takes place with pretty much the camera just being pulled back slowly. I think it's a 2-minute music video, and as the music video goes, the camera just keeps going back farther and farther, revealing more of this empty house. And the empty house symbolizes, no, I'm not going to spoil it yet. I'll get to that later. But with each shot, I would have to replace the camera over and over. And this was shot in my new house, which I actually, my brother, his girlfriend, and I signed the lease for a day before I shot this. So I had the house for a day when I shot this music video. And I wanted to take advantage of the house being as empty as possible so that I can tell the story. Yeah, so I can spend days, hours talking about the lyrics of all these music videos, but that's for a separate video. Today I'm kind of just focusing on the visual and what went into each shot and the symbolism. But there's a lot of emotionally impactful lyrics in this song. I think the lyrics take the cake in this music video. This music video, I wanted something simple, something relatable, something eye-catching that wasn't too hard to follow. So I wanted to focus a lot on the lyrics. And the lyrics, like if you hear some of them, they kind of catch you off guard. And they're very jarring as well. So I wanted to start the video jarring with my eyes. And I wanted to keep that emotion going throughout the whole music video. So right here, I'm talking about basically like they don't wash their hands, they don't keep away. It makes its way to the place I stay. So you kind of see he's standing up now. He's way more emotionally involved. And we kind of get the idea like, oh crap, maybe he got sick. What happened was he sick and he's better now? And then when I collapse to my knees, you start noticing Will, the character I'm playing, he's talking about dying and the doctors being out of ventilators and him wanting his mom. It's super sad. But we start to get the idea like, oh crap, maybe he's dying, maybe he's going to die. And then the last lyric of the video is right before I died and I froze. And I had to keep this position for like a couple seconds, and then you see Will fade away. And I wanted that to symbolize him being dead. As the whole music video was playing, he was already dead. Not that he was a ghost there, like he's not paranormal there, but it's more of just like an emotion. He represents an emotion, he represents a memory, and he represents everything that could have been also. So I wanted to make a music video that kind of just showed how impactful this virus is for people who are at high risk, the elderly, the immunosuppressed, anyone who's high risk. I wanted to show that and take my own fears and my own emotions and put that in a video that hopefully was relatable. I think out of all my music videos that I've made, that one is the that one is the most emotionally impactful. It's not visually my favorite, but as far as the subject matter, I think it's the most important music video I've made. All right. Damn, you guys chose all the sad songs today, didn't you? I think I'll be doing this again in the future. There's still Vinnie, which is a hilarious, fun, energetic song. There's also Talking to a Phone, which definitely has a lot of symbolism in it. And there is, do I remember my songs? Oh, there's Eyes on Fire. That one's the one I wished I could have talked about. That one's gnarly. But I wanted you guys to pick, and you guys wanted to see these three. Great picks, by the way. They're very powerful music videos, and a lot went into making these, and I'm very proud of them. I'm so happy with how they turned out, and there's so much that went into them that the average person wouldn't even know. Hopefully this video doesn't take away from the emotional impact and the beauty that these music videos represent and that went into them. It's more just for fun, just to show my process and how I made these. Hopefully you guys learned something. If there's any aspiring filmmakers out there and any curious fans, any curious supporters of mine that wanted to know how I accomplished a lot of these, well, now you know. All right, guys, so that just about wraps it up. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to vote for these 3 videos. I really appreciate all of you for your love and support. I'm definitely going to be doing more of these in the future for sure. And I have to give a huge thank you to AJ at wholehearted.org, my employer, for letting me film here and offering the studio for me in the future as well. So huge thank you to you. Really, thank you. I appreciate you. And as far as the quarantine goes, wow, that's a tongue twister. As far as the quarantine goes, guys, stay safe and stay positive. We're going to get through this. I know we will. The best thing we can do right now is to just keep social distancing and wash your hands as much as possible. It's super important for people that are high risk and our elders as well as our grandparents and family members. So stay positive. We're going to get through this, and we'll get back to it soon. And honestly, I can't wait to be doing shows again. I miss doing shows for you guys. It's been tough, but I'm getting through it as best as I know how. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.